Two big stories involving politicians dominated Australian news this week. The first was a story by Four Corners' Louise Milligan, in which she explored intimate relationships in what she called the Canberra bubble. The second story focused on the decision by Joel Fitzgibbon to resign from Labor's front bench over disagreements about the federal opposition's climate policies. Now, both stories raised matters of genuine ethical significance. Yet those matters were quickly set to one side as attention turned to questions of marital infidelity on one hand and possible leadership challenges on the other. And too often that's what happens. Matters of substance are obscured by what is merely interesting or engaging. In the case of Four Corners, the ethically significant issue concerned whether or not our federal parliament is a safe place to work, especially for those at risk of sexual harassment. In particular, are women being accorded the respect and opportunity that they have a right to expect? And what does it say about our nation's politics if some of those in power think themselves to be exempt from the standards that apply everywhere else? Now, the second issue concerned the need for federal government ministers to avoid making themselves targets for blackmail, or at least susceptible to other forms of pressure that could corrupt decision-making and lead to a betrayal of the public interest. There's a genuine public interest in investigating such questions. However, with one important exception, the public interest defence does not extend to matters involving intimate relationships between consenting adults. That exception is when a public figure has secured advantage by consciously cultivating a reputation for unblemished moral rectitude. Hypocrites may be exposed, not for the sake of a journalistic gotcha moment, but because the evident hypocrite has invited such judgment. Actually, it amazes me that anyone would invite such scrutiny, especially given that most of us are flawed, and I certainly am. Well, the same goes for Four Corners' coverage of Christian Porter's alleged conduct during his decade as a uni student. Whether or not Porter was a misogynistic loutish goose at university, it's not especially relevant. I mean, in another universe, he may have been a paragon of virtue. Yet there'd still be an issue today. Are people safe from exploitation? Are they treated with respect in their dealings with the most powerful politicians in Australia? The central point at issue in Joel Fitzgibbon's resignation also went missing in action, being submerged in speculation about possible leadership challenges and the like. Joel Fitzgibbon's complaint is that Labor's climate policy will alienate voters in electorates like his own seat of Hunter, where jobs are secured by exploiting fossil fuel resources such as coal. Now, the strangest thing about this debate is that it's not really about climate policy at all. The people in whose name Joel Fitzgibbon and his union allies speak, they don't have any particular desire to advance or retard climate policy per se. They simply want to know that whatever happens, they will have a job, that there will be work for their children, that they can pay their bills when they fall due, and so on. I mean, if someone would just promise them that and that their future is assured, then I reckon they might abandon the coal pits tomorrow. Yet the significance of bread and butter issues of the kind that drove millions of Americans into the arms of Donald Trump was lost in the commentary about a political storm within the Labor Party teacup. There's a fine line between capturing the public's attention and in diverting attention away from the ethical core of a matter of public interest. I mean, the powerful are past masters at the political equivalent of a magician's sleight of hand. They just love it when the froth and the bubble becomes the story, as it's that which allows them to avoid dealing with the more important issues that lie hidden beneath. So, let me ask you, when it comes to ethical issues, how and where do you draw the line?